Good morning, Mount Olive Church and friends of Mount Olive Church. Andrew Short filling in for John Mullins here on this Friday. Thought I would work the wig back in here real quick. Brother Carmel Shell had given me a hard time about hadn't wore the wig in a while, and Brother Scott there. We're doing this week our devotions on his message from Sunday. And toward the end, he told the gentleman in the back that he was so good looking that God didn't even give him hair. And so I thought to myself, I better find me a wig to put on because that's not true. But hopefully everybody's having a good. I won't leave that on for the entire devotion. That would be distracting, wouldn't it? So hopefully everybody's having a good week, having a good Friday today. So I'll go ahead and share my screen here. And the message from Brother Scott on Sunday was really good. Hopefully you got a chance to watch that. If not, please go back and do that. And also the devotions from the other brothers this week have been so good and have kind of hit around some of the stuff that I may talk about here. But the thing that really stuck out to me was this thought that we'll get to here in just a second. But the point that Brother Scott made from the spirit of adoption. And so the title of the message was Room for You. But the kind of the first thing we want to look at here, let's go ahead and go to the slideshow, make it a little bigger. That's better. All right, but this quote that Brother Scott said, and it may have been a word or two off, but this was pretty much the idea was there's no roadmap to get from where I was then to where I am today. And it was one of those deals where right in the middle of the sermon, man, it just hit me right between the eyes. I don't 100% know that he meant it this way, but it certainly hit me this way. There's no 12 step or 30 step or whatever process that can get me from where I was before I was saved to where I am now. And I don't mean to say that I'm in some great spot of whatever, now, but there's no steps that I could take on my own to get me there. There's no roadmap for that. There's no thing I can do on my own to get me from where I was to where I am. Okay. So that hit me right between the eyes. I loved that quote. Made me think of Little Orphan Annie, and kind of the general thought here. And Hard Knock Life has been stuck in my head all week. So that's what I get for using a Little Orphan Annie analogy here. But kind of the idea was that Annie, simplified idea anyway, was that Annie was an orphan and Big Daddy Warbucks comes in. There's no amount of steps that she could have taken right on her own that could have got her to this great mansion, to this great lifestyle. There was nothing she could have done on her own to have worked her way up the ladder. But Big Daddy Warbucks kind of swoops in, and through him, right, he takes her home and he takes her to this mansion and this great life that she otherwise could not have, got to navigate it on her own. And so that's kind of a hard thing sometimes for me to, this idea of there not being a roadmap to get from where I was to where I am, or even to further work our way through the Christian life. I'm a kind of a rules guy. I like steps. I like instructions. I started to put a picture of a Barbie dream house on here that Everly and I put together for Christmas. I like the instructions out, and I can't stand getting one step ahead or one step behind. Everything has to be done in order, but that's not how it works, right? There's no amount of steps I can do to get myself from where I was to where I am after I'm saved. So here was the text that Brother Scott spoke from, and of course, the other guys have talked about it too. One of my favorite Bible passages. I go back to it over and over and over again. I ended up in an actual pig pen for a children's church video one time. So didn't do that though, because those pigs are now gone. They've been used for bacon somewhere. But Luke 15, and this kind of is almost all the way through the story of the prodigal son. So the prodigal is coming back here, and he says, and he arose and came to his father. I love this part. But when he was yet a great way off, his father saw him, had compassion, and ran and fell on his neck and kissed him. He didn't wait for the son to come and give his big speech about how wrong he had been. The father ran to him. Love that picture of God as that father. And verse 21 says, and the son said to him, Father, I have sinned against heaven. So here comes the speech, right? I've sinned against heaven and in thy sight, and I am no more worthy to be called thy son. That was true. But the father, I love that, and Scott pointed out, doesn't even acknowledge that. He says, but the father said to his servants, bring forth the best robe and put it on him, put a ring on his hand and shoes on his feet. So again, there's no roadmap to get from where the prodigal son was in that pig pen to where he was when the father put the robe on him. There was nothing he could do, right? he couldn't come back and work it off, even though that's kind of what he had in his mind. The father had to step in, right? He doesn't even acknowledge the servant comment, but without the forgiveness of the father, right? Get this, without the forgiveness of the father, there's no way the son gets from the pig pen to the road. I mean, if you take the forgiveness of the father away, if the father is standing there with his arms, crossed when the son gets there, there's no way he comes and gets that robe and gets put back into the spot of adoption, of being brought back into the family that he was a part of. There's no way he can do that on his own. There's no amount of steps he can take. So we're adopted into the family of God because of his goodness. If you don't get anything else today from this, get that. We're adopted into the family of God because of his goodness, not ours. Again, there's no amount of reading my Bible, praying for X number of minutes, going to church X number of days. There's none of that I can do. And all that's good stuff, right? That's stuff we should want to do. But there's none of that I can do to earn myself salvation or to earn myself a spot in heaven. That's not how it works. Thank goodness that's not how it works. Thank God that's not how it works. I would have never got there, right? It's because of his goodness. It's the Father coming down and forgiving the Son. That's how you get there, not some step process, right? And I love this verse. I love how this verse went in with the whole story. And we'll end right here. Ephesians 2, verse 13 says, "But now in Christ Jesus, ye who were sometimes were far off are made nigh by the blood of Christ." Nothing else, not my good works, not anything I did, but by the blood of Christ. And I'm so thankful for that. Hopefully you are too. If not, the whole point of Brother Scott's sermon was that there's room for you. So, be confident in that today. If you're a Christian, be confident in that today. If you're not, please consider that. Join us in church sometime. Think about that. And we hope to see you guys soon. We love you guys. Have a great Friday and a great weekend. Love you, Mount Olive.